Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I'm liking what they're doing there. Like you said, no Kane. I have no idea what they're doing with that. It's been a while. It's really weird. But I think what they've been doing so far with Rollins and Ambrose has been great. So what are your expectations for the title match come Chamber in a couple weeks?
Well, this is a match that I really was hoping that, I mean, not hoping, but just expecting to be saved. They had a great series of matches last summer, all right? SummerSlam probably being their best encounter.
Which I was here for, by the way.
There you go.
Sitting in these very seats as we're recording this right now.
SummerSlam, they had a great lumberjack match. They had a great program. They had a great segment at Battleground where Ambrose was chasing Seth Rollins into the trunk of a car, or came out of the trunk of a car and chased Seth Rollins out of the arena. Then at Hell in a Cell, they had they closed the show at Hell in a Cell. So a great string of matches in 2014. I was expecting, well, the next time we see these guys go, it's going to be WrestleMania, SummerSlam. These guys are the future. Next Stone Cold, next Rock. Don't let them meet up. So last night I had a bunch of emotions, a bunch of thoughts, especially as we learned that, hell, Ambrose is facing Rollins in the main event of Elimination Chamber. Bunch of emotions, bunch of thoughts, but at the end of the day, I'm just excited. I really am. These guys have the best chemistry, I'd say, on the roster. Bold statement. The best chemistry. That's saying Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, who are chemistry. I'm saying Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Just the history that these guys have. The best chemistry out of anyone on the roster. They're amazing to watch, and Elimination Chamber is going to benefit from this. Having Kane and Rollins close the show to Elimination Chamber wouldn't have been a really good way to end it at all. But Ambrose and Rollins, they're gonna freaking close the show. That's amazing.
We've been saying this since the night after WrestleMania. Hashtag the future is now.
Yes, sir.
Here in WWE. That's what I love about this. But it's funny that you mentioned that too. I'm in the midst of an article. I was in the middle of writing it before I went over to your house yesterday, before I came on over here. Probably going to finish it later, put it up on Bleacher Report tomorrow. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, in my opinion, I want to know if you agree with this, is WWE's next iconic rivalry.
It will be.
I'm not saying it's going to be the next Rock and Austin, but I could see it being like the equivalent, again, not as great, but just something similar to Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
All right. It's already being positioned. It's already being geared to be like that. The chapters that their rivalry has is boundless. You could write a book. You could write a whole book about just Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And the exciting part is that it's not even close to being over. These guys are so young. It's going to be WrestleMania 40.
They're just getting started.
And they're still going to be going. They're going to be tag teaming in a couple years. It's going to be amazing.
That's what I love about this so much.
There's so much depth in this book of Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Go back to the summer. They were the most entertaining part of Monday Night Raw, having Dean Ambrose, gag the Money in the Bank briefcase for Seth Rollins to open, have green paint come out. Remember when he poured soda and popcorn inside of it and had Heath Slater beat Rollins? Their matches at SummerSlam, just the segments and the promos and this and that, and it was just great must-see TV back in the summer, which is why I think last summer was very hard to beat. Probably the best portion of 2014. But
hands down.
Oh, they added so much to the summer of 2014, and I'm hoping that their stint right now doesn't end at Elimination Chamber. Whether Ambrose walks out or Rollins walks out champ, I'm hoping that we have more to the story. But I don't want the story to finish. I want them to keep the book open a little bit. Give me a reason to want to watch Ambrose Rollins 10 years from now. So
that's why I love this feud, because I feel like the on and off chemistry that these two have is endless. It's boundless in terms of where they can go with it. Yeah. The matches are great. The promos are great. The storyline is great. Dean Ambrose, up until a couple weeks ago, had never, ever, ever, ever beaten Seth Rollins. Finally got that win to earn himself a spot in the main event of the pay-per-view. And all former Shield members in the main event, along with Randy Orton, for the WWE Championship in the main event of Payback.
It's outstanding. It really is. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see. And when I just to go back to what I said earlier, I want them to give me a reason to want to see this match in 10 years. What I'm referring to is, I don't want this to be a John Cena, Randy Orton kind of deal, where 10 years from now, Ambrose and Rollins, blah, 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 I don't want to see, blah, 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 blah. I want this match to be fresh for the next decade, the next 2 decades, till I'm dead. I want to see Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins fighting with their walkers and fighting over the last something at the early bird special diner, blah.
So TNA?
Yes. Yes.
So that being said, to me, I love that comparison. It's not Cena Orton, more it's the same match. It's they had good matches, but whenever I see that match, I'm like, oh, again.
I'm really, really not excited. Like whenever they're in
when they're in the same ring together, exactly, sharing the same breath. I'm like, oh, Cena and Orton again. To me, it's like Cena and Punk. You see Cena and Punk in the same car together, Cena and Punk. Yeah. It's gonna be something special. Yeah, really. Those matches are good. The promos are good.
So what do you think they did wrong with Orton? Other than having them wrestle at every single juncture they could, what do you think they did wrong with Orton and Cena?
I think the problem with Orton and Cena was that their feud never evolved. The story was always the same. Orton was always. Every time they feuded, Orton was always, I'm a heel now. I'm going to punt your dad in the head. Yeah. That was a great feud.
I think 2007, that was probably
the best feud.
And that's because they did fresh stuff like punting your dad in the head.
Exactly. There was a story to it.
They did the same thing in 2009, 2011.
They did it a year ago in 2014.
It was never much more than, I'm a good guy, you're a dick, let's wrestle.
Chase my championship.
Let's wrestle.
They had 4 pay-per-view matches in 2009. It was basically just hot potato at the title. No story behind it. When they unified the WWE World Heavyweight Championships, there's no story. It's just Cena and Orton.
And so far for Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, we've had, all right, you turned on me, I'm going to kick your ass. All right, you screwed me at Money in the Bank, now I'm going to make sure you never cash in.
Yes.
All right, now we're at you're WWE champion, I'm coming for your ass. So there's already so much depth and so much evolution.
So many layers.
Exactly.
Evolution is a mystery. I love it. It's perfect. Seth Rollins to me is like the current Randy Orton. He's like a mixture. He's like a hybrid of Edge and Randy Orton to me. And Ambrose is like an Austin, Pillman, and Piper. That's a stretch, but I feel like it's an Austin, Pillman, and Piper. I love the talent right now. The future is now.